Hi all, welcome back to session 17. Here we were discussing the set variable activity, and in the last part we discussed what is the normal variable is in data factory. Now I was also talking about another type of variable that is called as pipeline return value. So in this part of the session 17 we are going to look into what the pipeline return value variable is and how we can use it to pass the values from the pipeline that you are executing inside your parent pipeline and get the values out of it. Okay, so in order to understand the pipeline return value, it was important that we should first discuss the execute pipeline activity. So we have discussed that activity in session 18. So before going into this session, that is part 2 of session 17, I would urge you to look into session 18. Okay, and based on that you should then proceed with this part, and that is how you will understand what I am talking about. Okay, so let me go to set variable activity. Okay, let me go to my Azure portal. Let me see whether it's recording. Yeah, now let me open my Azure account. Yes, stay signed in. Okay, let me go into my resource group and I'm going to open my data factory studio. Cool. So in session 17 we created pl set variable demo pipeline. And in this pipeline, at the end, what we did, we created a set variable activity, and in that we defined a variable that is holding our file name that we want to copy. Okay. So in the first instance, we set this variable with file1.txt value. We copy that file using the copy activity. After that, we change the value of that variable to file2.txt, and then excuse me, we copy file2 also. Okay, now if you click on set variable, you see there is another type, pipeline return value. Okay, so pipeline return value is like if you are creating a function in your Python program and that function is returning a value after its execution. So suppose this pipeline is successfully executed and you want to get certain values from this pipeline in your parent pipeline, so you use pipeline return value type. Okay, so pipeline return value type is nothing but like a dictionary in Python. So you will have key value pairs. So let me just create another set variable here. Okay, and I'm going to connect it. Let me just rename this activity. I'm going to say the name of activity is set pipeline return value. So this activity is set pipeline return value. Here if you click on this activity, if you go to setting, you click on pipeline return value. Okay, now you can define the values that this pipeline should return after this set variable activity is called. Okay, so let me put 3 4 values here. So as you can see, you can have multiple key value pairs. So I'm going to say status is going to be of string type. So I'm going to say successful. Then you can have an int success is 0, then true, otherwise it is false. You can just hard code it right now. Again, I'm going to say, let me put null, it is demo. Let me put expression here. I'm going to say calculation, add. I'm going to say 2 comma 3, and we can have array also. Let me put one more with array. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is array. Let me validate everything, and I'm going to publish it. So what we did here, we defined couple of key value pairs, and this pipeline will return these values to the calling pipeline. Okay, so now here our changes are done. Let me go to my execute pipeline. Okay, now in this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set variable. Okay, so I'm going to just copy paste it multiple times. 4, 5, I think. How many were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fine. Okay, so we have 5. Let me add here. So we are connecting all our pipeline, all our activities to execute pipeline activity. Okay, everything is looking good. Fine. Now, if you come here, and here you have to define the variable. So I have already defined one variable, execution status. Now it is going to ask to provide value. So here what I have to do, I have to click on pipeline return value, and then I have to give the value as status. Okay, so let me click on it, and then I will put dot status. Okay, so basically what it is doing is, it is going to call the pipeline pl set variable demo, and after the pipeline is successfully executed, in the output it will return a value that is going to be an object. So in this object you will have a status. So status is going to be an attribute. So let me put that. So it's like JSON parsing. So if you know how to parse JSON, you can easily understand it. So let me name it as execution status. Okay, let me go to next. In this, what we have to, I have to say success. Here I have to go click on new success. I'm going to say it is an integer. I would say confirm. Here I would say, here is a success, return value dot success. Now in the third, I'm not going to pick demo, but let's pick demo. Okay, that is not a problem. I'm going to say set demo. One more, demo, keep it as string only. Demo. In the next activity we are going to say calculation. Set calculation. In this, what I'm going to say, I'm going to say calculation confirm. So I'm basically initializing all these variables with the values that I'm getting from my child pipeline, that is PL set variable demo. So calculations, it was calculation, correct? Yes, and in the last part we are going to get an array. Okay. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more value, array of type array. Confirm. I'm going to say array. So everything looks good. Let me validate. I will see if everything is correct. Yes, there is no complaint from ADF. So I'm going to publish this pipeline. So in order to summarize, I will just say that when you are using pipeline return value, you are trying to get some data out of the pipeline that you have called in the execute pipeline activity, and the purpose of this value could be to proceed with your main pipeline based on the status of your executed pipeline. Okay, so here what we have done, we have set execution status, success, set demo, set calculation, set array, everything that is coming from the child pipeline that we have called here. Okay, so let me go to my data factory resource group. I'm using same data, so I'm going to delete the sync directory. So I'm not going to delete sync container, I'm just going to delete the sync directory. It is deleted, and let me trigger it. So it is going to call your PL set variable demo, which in turn is going to copy file 1 and file 2 here in your sync. And after the execution is complete, it is going to pass the values that you have set in your last set variable activity in this pipeline, that is status, success, demo, calculation array, to your PL execute pipeline, that is parent pipeline. And here you are using the return value from this execute pipeline activity and populating all these variables. Okay, so let's just go to this and let's see what is happening. So in this, I'm just going to say not triggered by all, I'm going to say manual trigger. Okay, okay, fine, it failed. Let's see what was the problem. Okay, variable calculation of triangle. The string cannot be initialized or variable with value integer. Okay, fine. So here what we did, I think there is a data type mismatch. So let me go to my child pipeline. Here I have to check. Okay, fine. Here it is looking good. Now let me go back and see the error one more time. It is saying variable calculation of type string cannot. Okay, so in our parent pipeline, that is our PL execute pipeline demo, we have defined variable calculation of type string, whether it should be where it should be integer, because our calculation is going to add two numbers 2 and 3, and the value that is going to come out of that calculation is going to be an integer. So you have to keep this in mind. So this is how you debug. So that comes with practice. So once the publishing is successful, let me just trigger it one more time. Let's check how the pipeline is doing this time. So currently, if you see, the one in on which there is a blue tick, that is currently executing. So whatever activity is currently in execution, it is going to show you this symbol. So it is like it is currently in process, and after that, once it is completed, it will turn green, and after that the next part will commence. Okay, so execution is successful. Fine, let's see. Let's go back. Let's It will take some time to load, I guess. Yes, this execution is successful. Now if you see, you got this pipeline as an output. Set pipeline return value, if you see, you are getting value as an output, and it is going to be a JSON object. So you have this JSON object, and in this JSON object you have multiple key value pairs. So this is an attribute, and the right hand side is a value. So status is successful, success is 0, demo null, calculation 5, array this. Okay, so I think array can be given without the uh, box brackets as well. So let's just change that thing also. I think it is automatically taking brackets without defining it. Let me go back to my set variable. Here in the settings, I'm going to remove the, so I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is an array of values. Let me publish it. And meanwhile, while it is published, let me just delete the data from sync. So data is deleted. Publishing is successful. Let me go back and let's trigger pipeline one more time. The pipeline has triggered. Let's see the status. It is currently executing. This is the pipeline run ID of the child pipeline. If you click on it, it is going to give you the child pipeline and its status. So currently, if you see, file 1 has been copied, file 2 has been set, file 2 is also, I think, copied. Yes, now everything has been done here. So you got set file name, set pipeline return value. Okay. Set pipeline return value. So here, if you see, now this array is coming like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So earlier what I did, I gave an array with box bracket, so it took that entire array as one item. Here, whatever value we have given, it is going to take it as an individual item in the array. So you don't have to give box brackets in your out in your initialization. It is also automatically going to make it for you. So now if you see, you have a value JSON object. In this you have multiple attributes and its values. Okay, now let's go into our parent pipeline. So in parent pipeline, if you see, your demo is set to null, your execution status is successful, your array has been initialized, and your success is also coming from the main, from the child pipeline, and your set calculation is giving you 5. Okay, so all these 5 variables you actually got from your pipeline set variable demo execute pipeline activity. So whenever you want to get some value out of your called pipeline, so whatever pipeline you have called in your execute pipeline activity, you want certain values out of it. Once the execution is complete, based on that you want to proceed, you can use pipeline return value in your set variable activity. Okay, so in order to just give you a simple example, let me, so in this Python, if you say you have a parent, okay, and in parent you do certain steps like step 1, step 2, step 3, and after that you call child. So this is going to be a child function, and this function you are going to execute and get a value out of it. Okay, and after this value you want to perform step 4, let's say, which is going to depend on step 3. Okay, in this case, sorry, not step 3, I would say value. So in this case, what is happening is your parent is calling a child function, and that child function is returning some value after the execution, and then based on that value you are working on the next step. So here your parent is going to become this pipeline, and in this case your child pipeline is going to become your child function. Okay, and then you have a value, and this value is going to be your value that is coming from pipeline return value activity. Okay, so in order to understand, you can take this particular demo as scenario where you are creating two functions, parent and child. Your parent function is calling your child function, and child function, after executing, passing some values to parent, and based on that value, parent is going to further perform its execution. So this is how you can use pipeline return value variable in your set variable activity. So I hope you got some information about set variable from this session, and you will be able to use this particular session in order to make your pipelines much more flexible. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me, and let's meet in the next session.